Welcome to the Hero's Blueprint. Today is going to be a nice and short, sweet episode, everyone. I'm very excited to be diving into some of these things because these are going to be some of the lies that we've all been told growing up about life, about who we are, about business, and just about everything in general. And these are some of the biggest lies that I myself have had to kind of not only become conscious of, but also work really hard to reframe for myself. And these are some of the biggest lies that I see other people have that they either still believe or they're not even aware that they have these beliefs. So before we dive in on these things, I have a couple little announcements. Number one is I have 3 one-on-one slots available where I'm doing private clarity and strategy sessions. So basically what that means is if you sign up for a one-on-one with me, you'll get a 60 to 90 minute private session where we're going to dive deep on exactly what's holding you back, whether it be professionally or personally. I'm going to help analyze your business brand and come up with a marketing strategy. And you get a bunch of cool bonuses if you do it. So I only have 3 slots that are actually available. So if you are interested in working with me one-on-one, go ahead and click the link in the show notes. And it's also on my website. And the second thing is I have a free ebook out right now, which is what today's episode is based off of, which is called the No BS Blueprint, Why Self-Help Has Failed You and How You Can Actually Figure Out Who You Are. 100% free. This is something I've been working on for the past 2 weeks, actually. I've been writing down a bunch of concepts and things that I myself have seen in the self-help industry that either isn't talked about enough or simply from the perspective of coaches and mentors, stuff that they're doing in order to keep people kind of at arm's reach so that way that they're giving them enough value, but not teaching them how to continue on growing. And that's some big problem that is in the self-help industry that I'm kind of wanting to shine a light on and tackle. So that is also in the show notes below. Download the free ebook. It's the thing that I wish I have whenever I walk down the self-help aisle and I'm looking for a book that can kind of help me. This is the exact thing. So no BS, download it free. Let's dive right into the episode now. Okay, so there's a couple of different lies that I want to touch upon. Number one is going to be that success equals status. Okay, so think about this. Ever since we were kids, who were the people that were like superstars to us? For me, it was like the people I saw in movies. It was like the celebrities. It was the actors, the musicians. It was the people that are like always talked about wherever you go, the people you hear on the radio. And even as I was growing up, the people that like I looked up to, I always thought were the people that had the most quote unquote success, whoever had the most status, whoever was the most talked about, whoever had the most money, whoever had the most fame. Okay. And you could probably relate on that on a lot of different aspects in terms of when you think about success, status a lot of the times is one of those things that pops up. But one thing I have learned, especially in the past couple of years, from talking to people who are the most successful people in the world, billionaires, millionaires, founders, CEOs, and also just general people that are older that are telling me about life, and I consider them successful, even if they don't have a lot of money, even if they don't have fame. This is the reframe about success, is that success does not mean status. Because successful people are still going to have the same problems that we face. Successful people are still going to have bad moments. They are still going to have times where they doubt themselves. They are still going to have moments where they feel completely lost. And in fact, almost every one of the successful people I know has had a moment in their life that has completely shattered and broken them, that they've had to get back up from. And the reason why I'm talking about this in this aspect right now is because when we think about success, it's not status. It's not that Lamborghini. It's not money. It's not that big house. It's not the movie stars. It's not the actors, the musicians that should be popping up. What success should be popping up in our head is the people who have a story to tell and utilize their story, no matter how bad and broken it is, and they use it to impact the world in a better place, and they're living in their purpose. So when you think about success, I want you to ask yourself, what are the things that pop up in your head? Because if it's like how it was for me, And it's still something I'm working on. It's a reframe. It's a reframe of what success is. Ask yourself, what does success mean to you? And if it's anything that we just talked about, I need you to kind of write down, what does success truly mean for you? We need to eliminate the status result, because whenever we think of success in tied to status, like especially in today's age with social media, it's so difficult to go on social media and see someone with 1 million followers and not assume that they're successful. But I know people that have less than 500 followers that make $10,000 a month are very happy in their lives. They're doing fantastic, and you would never know because they're just not posting about that. They don't really care about the status of who they are. They only care about their mission and their impact. So think about that. Think about success and what it means to you and how you can eliminate status from that definition. All right, the second lie I want to touch upon is you are what you do. Ever since we were kids and ever since we were growing up, at least for me and, almost everyone I know, everyone got asked, what do they want to be when they grow up? Now think about that for a second. When you're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? The first thing that comes up is, what kind of job do I want to do? Okay, so ever since we were kids, we were always taught that we should be thinking about what kind of job do we want to do, because that is going to be who we are. We are either going to be a doctor, a firefighter, a police officer, or join the military, or a whatever the heck it is, zoologist. But one thing that creates as we get older is a lot of anxiety and identifying with that job in terms of who we are. So let's say we say we're going to grow up to become a doctor, right? And let's say that we're going to school to become a doctor and we realize that this is the absolute thing that we hate the most in the world is becoming a doctor, right? But your whole entire life, you assumed that you are going to become a doctor. This is where a lot of people struggle. And this is where I myself have gone through some tough times, because I assume that I have to follow through because I said this is who I am. I always said I was going to join the military, so I always saw myself as a soldier in the Air Force. And then when that got knocked out of the window, I was like, okay, well, who am I now? I have to completely reinvent myself. And that's where we really have to kind of take a step back and say, who are we? I wish people asked kids not what do they want to be when they grow up, but who do they want to be? And this is something that we ourselves can not only ask ourselves, but we can start implementing today in terms of asking other people, who do you want to be? Not what. Because the answers that we really want to get is, what kind of person do you want to be? What kind of person do we want our kids to be? When a kid is asked, who do you want to be? The first things that can come up in their head is, ooh, I want to be a superhero. Why do you want to be a superhero? Oh, because they save people, because they help people, because they're nice, they're kind. You see, when you ask things like that and you get people interested and you yourself start to dive into why is it that you want to be something, then you could figure out what truly matters to you. So who do you want to be? And are you living in alignment with who you want to be right now in your life? Is what you're doing for your job what you want to do? Is who you are being projected in your job? Is it being limited? Is it being shut out? Is your light being dimmed? Figure out right now, is what you're doing in alignment with who you are? Because you are more than what you do. And that's one of the biggest lies that we were told growing up. And it's our job to change that. And then finally, the last thing I really want to touch upon is that clarity comes from thinking more. And this is something I'm just going to get right to, and this is going to be really quick. I myself have struggled forever in terms of being a perfectionist and needing to make sure everything is perfect before I do something. I will spend hours and hours and hours creating something like my website. Before I launched my website, I spent legitimately probably 3 whole days of time making it perfect. The colors, the fonts, the images, the text, making sure SEO friendly, all these different variables I was doing before I clicked go live. And this happens with me in so many different areas, whether it be things I'm doing, programs I'm doing. I'm just a perfectionist. But you know what happens when I do that is that I'm using motivation in order to start. And then when I'm trying to perfect everything, by the time I'm done perfecting everything, my motivation is gone. And if there's something that like doesn't work, like let's say I just made my website, took me 3 days, and I finally launch it and I find out there's a huge error, which is going to cause me to now have to go back and do things because I don't have any motivation anymore. It's so easy for me to give up. It's so easy for me to say, now I'm just going to do this later. It's so easy for me to make excuses. But when you just do, when you do something and you put it out there and you get feedback from people, you get feedback from the universe, you get feedback from God, from yourself, then you could actually make adjustments that not only are based on evidence, but is also not going to limit you. Because you can always improve upon something once it's out there. But the more time you spend thinking and trying to do something the best that you possibly can before it's actually able to impact people and help people, the more opportunity you're giving for negativity, for problems, for issues to come up. So don't think about how can I get more clarity. Think about what is most important to me right now. What am I trying to accomplish and how can I get this out there as quick as possible? And if you just get it out there, like this podcast, right? This podcast I'm doing. I can sit here for hours generating ideas, figuring out what the heck I want to talk about, writing all these notes, doing all these different things. But let me tell you, I'm just recording right now, talking to you heart from heart. I don't expect these episodes to be perfect. I'm just talking to you guys real, one-on-one, no notes, no nothing, just talking based off of my life experiences and my experiences that I have learned from my mentors, from talking to people, and my mission. I can always improve the next episode. But if I sat here trying to make this podcast perfect, this episode perfect, do you know how long I would be spending? And then by the time it comes to actually click record, if I'm not in alignment with something that I thought about, I would have to go back and change it. Do you see how you can sap and waste so many hours doing that? So the next time you have an idea, ask yourself, is this in alignment with who I am? What can I do to get this out there as quick as possible? And also make sure that it's in alignment with my values. Because that is literally the most important thing. The worst thing possible is when you have an idea, you do something and it's not in alignment with your values. Like you feel not good about it later on. Just do something and then get feedback from yourself, from God, from others, and then you can improve upon it. So those are 3 different lies right there that I think is very important. And if you download the No BS Blueprint ebook, these are 3 lies that are in there that I kind of talk about and break down. I hope this is helpful for you. And I really encourage you to sit down with these 3 things because success does not equal status. And you've made improvements when you think about success, and people with a lot of status isn't the first thing that comes up. Especially with you are what you do. This is something that for the future generation, I think is so important for us to learn. It's not only going to help us to really reframe the fact that we are not only what we do, that we are more than what we do, but also for our kids and for the next generation to show them that they are not their job, that they are individual people, that they have unique skills, that they are okay to chase their dreams, that they are okay to sit down and figure out, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? And then figure out how they can be who they want to be in the world. And the last thing about clarity comes from thinking more. Just do stuff. Just do stuff. If you haven't already, please leave a review on the podcast. It helps it get out there for other people. And I love each and every one of you. I hope this podcast has been helpful for you. This is going to be episode 6 of the Heroes Blueprint. You all take care. Have a great one.